it removes the fear of the buyer to spend a lot of money. Like any cost objection goes away. I made a post that had 104 likes that ultimately led to upwards of like $65,000 in revenue, cash collected over like 4 weeks.
You were in for a treat today. We are joined by Coach Mike, who was a former FBI investigator, and now he is a mindset coach. And Mike, you were telling me you've helped 20 people be the #1 in the world in that sport.
The #1 in the country, in the world, and win 10 world championships.
I've been grateful to get to know you over the last short period of time. And one of the really cool things that you told me that you leverage in order to collect a ton of cash for your business was a really smart little financing play.
When I started to promote my course, which was something that I just said, you know what, I'm not going to wait till it's perfect. I'm going to do it right now. And in the midst of that, I came across my payment processor, Stripe, was starting to allow me to use Affirm and Afterpay. And I've utilized those for big purchases just to leverage cash flow. And, you know, ultimately what it does is it removes the fear of the buyer to spend a lot of money. Like any cost objection goes away. Reason being is because if I'm charging X and they don't have X up front, instead of haggling and using all the great sales strategies to close them, you could offer them a free no credit check payment plan of 6 payments where Affirm assumes the responsibility, pays you up front, but Affirm assumes the responsibility and gives them 6 interest-free payments. And if that's still too much money, then they can pay a little bit of interest and do 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. So there's literally no cost objection possible if you could split something into upwards of 24 months.
So cool. So one of my favorite things about working with people like you is you share the value with the rest of the community. And so I know in the beginning you were, if you're okay with me sharing, I think
Sure.
that we spoke about this before, you were kind of overthinking a lot of stuff. And I remember you couldn't necessarily figure out exactly this course, how's the best way to get it out there, and like, should I trust the process? And so I want to know, like, first of all, what switched in your mind? And the thing that I love about you, to come full circle, is you share the things that you learn as you're learning them with the rest of the members, which then helps them, just like that Affirm and Afterpay thing, which I didn't even know about. So it was super cool. Now we're looking into that, testing it. It's a little bit weird because it only works. All of your clients are pretty much USA, right? We have clients around the world. So unfortunately for us, it doesn't work outside of the US. But with that in mind, when you were first starting with us and you were considering all the different options that you could go down to get your course, your program out there, like what were the things that were kind of getting you in your head that were preventing you from just getting it out there? Because you're a mindset coach, right? And so sometimes it's interesting how we need a dose of our own medicine. But when you finally made that switch, it was crazy the results that you got.
Yeah. So, you know, I've been sitting on this sort of stuff for a few years because I wanted to do it not in a perfectionist way. I just knew that the way that after leaving my company, this would be the first like signature course that I release. Like I do one-on-one in teams year round. Like I left my company on Wednesday. By Thursday, there were new clients coming to me. It was never an issue for that, but this was my first, just my product that I was going to release at scale, not the high ticket one-on-ones. So I just wanted to make sure that that I picked the right vehicle to do it, because I would say not only pick the right vehicle, I just wanted to make sure that I was going after the right systems and doing the right things, because I'm not afraid to make mistakes. I always say, like, I'll pull the trigger real hard. I'm like not afraid to figure it out afterwards. This was just something, it was really important for me not to get it perfect, but to get it right. Okay. And so, you know, it's which course should I release? Like, who should I release it to? How should I release it? When should I release it? When's the right time? And then it just got to the point where right around Christmas, I purposefully scheduled like 2 weeks for me to chill around Christmas, so that, because I just worked really hard the previous months. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I know that I work really well when I have no distractions. I have no distractions. It's Christmas holiday. No one's doing anything. No one's buying stuff. Everyone's with their family. So I spent like 2.5 weeks, like working all day just to release like the 1.0 version for my course. And the results were pretty outstanding. And even though I didn't know what I knew now through Impact School, with like how well to weaponize my CTAs. Obviously I knew CTAs and like, I knew how that works, but just your wording and like the formatting of the post, I didn't even get to use that then. I made a post that had 104 likes. That's it. And I have 25,000 followers just on Instagram. So I had a post that had 104 likes and a few stories that ultimately led to upwards of like $65,000 in revenue, cash collected over like 4 weeks. It wasn't all course money. I would say 60% of it was the course money, but I won't even call it promoting. I literally throw up a couple posts and stories. I have a very engaged following, just not a weaponized social media. Lauren gave me a weaponized social media that like I actually can make the money that like my content, like everyone wants it, but it's not reaching them because I don't have a social media strategy. Those couple posts then brought people in that weren't fit for the course, but they were a fit for my executive coaching program. They were a fit for my like one-on-one high-level athlete program. And, you know, two of those, like me throwing those posts out there, just two of those extra sales was $21,000 was from like just me throwing stuff out there outside of the course. And then the rest was all course money coming in. It wasn't a perfectionist thing. It wasn't a, you know, typical, I don't know my niche. Like I know all these things. I'm not afraid of being perfect. I don't mind being ugly. Like it was just, I want to make sure this first time that I'm releasing something, I go about it with a solid backing. And I just realized that I spent years trying to think of when it was going to be right. So just said, rip the Band-Aid off, F it. I'm going to do it. And it was not ugly at all. It was difficult. I lacked the systems to really back up the demand that came in, but I've spent the last month doing nothing but installing those systems so that when I release the next course, we're not chasing our tail to make hopefully double the amount of money.
Yeah. And how come you were thinking about this for years, but then you finally were able to rip that Band-Aid off and just go for it? Like what changed for you?
My whole purpose for leaving the FBI to doing this was like wanting more impact. I wasn't getting job satisfaction and I wasn't getting direct impact. I started dabbling in this job like midway through my FBI career, realized I was really good at it, loved it, started getting a lot of results. And I left that company to have more of an impact because I was limited to really only working one-on-one and with teams. And I had to travel so much to close business that I knew that the ticket for me for time freedom, money freedom, and impact was being able to do group courses. I had been building my own curriculum for years. So I think for those of you watching, what might be difficult for some of you, maybe you don't have a curriculum that you've been using for 6 years, like with success, and maybe you're spending so much time figuring it out. So if I could side note for a second and tell you guys, the best thing that I ever did was when I took a productivity course, you will not travel for at least 3 to 5 weeks. You will not travel and you will do, you know, everyone knows about deep work, but like you will commit to focusing on the number one thing that's going to drive your new company's success, which is taking all of the ideas that you've had and putting it into like a truly bulletproof curriculum that you can then disseminate however you want. Group courses, individual, team coaching, whatever. Because I had been teaching these concepts and had like some Word documents and stuff that I had been using. I don't think you've ever looked at my curriculum, but it's really freaking nice. It's really nice. And it took me a couple months to really get that down. So I know a lot of you, like your biggest thing is creating the content. And I had the content. I needed to spend the time creating like the offer and the systems and the back end and the posting and the ManyChat DMs. Cause oh my God, I had one CTA post, the first one that I did with you, and it had 168 comments and my auto chat didn't fire.
No, that is the worst thing. But hey, that's a nice way to learn that it feels good to have a lot of leads, but it feels really bad not to get the tech right?
I dropped everything and like got that started because I was never doing that again.
How many of those actually converted into like decent sales for you? Because one of the things that I always saw you mentioning is like, with our system, it turned your good sales system into like a bulletproof sales system.
As far as that CTA post, that was one recently, but let's just talk about like the stuff that came out from when I did post. Like I literally used, like we had the 2-day mastermind and I used like a couple key points that you did, not like everything because I was going on the road like a couple days later. I used all the stuff. I used a handful of those things. My conversion rate, I can't give you an exact number, but I converted every single person but one. And there was a lot.
How many?
So let's see. Of the people that I qualified for interviews, that was about 40. And then from the interviews, I want to say it was 29 out of 30.
That's ridiculous. That's like a crazy high close rate. You're a good closer. That's awesome.
I've always been good at that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, okay, so Mike, real quick, and for everyone watching, listening, the place to find Mike is mindset_Mike on Instagram, or you can go to his website, unfairadvantagemindset.com. Check him out. Look at his programs. Absolute beast, and someone that I'm just so grateful that we get to work with at Impact School. But Mike, let's talk about this for a sec, because the part that still trips me up, I don't understand exactly how come you weren't generating this type of revenue before you were working with us.
Yeah.
What do you think it was?
There was just no systems. I was just posting to post because I was so busy doing other things. And like my sales are organic. Like people are always coming to me because of my authority in the space. So I didn't have like an urgency to do everything to create systems. But here's the thing, like I had the desire to, but I needed a coach and a process to do it. I wasn't going to Google, YouTube, read 10 Hormozi books and like figure out all the different things to do. I'm going to implement somebody else's system and not try to reinvent the wheel. So it took probably like a large amount of time to figure out which like coaching program that I was going to use. So, you know, if you look at someone without digging in and like knowing the questions and the things they answer, everyone online that I'm a 8-figure business owner and I help all these, everyone sounds the same. They all promise the same things, but it was like figuring out which was going to be the right fit for me, because this is the most money that I've dropped outside of my car and a down payment to a house. So it was something for me that like, I wanted to make sure I really felt comfortable that like, because I'm going to go all in, I'm going to go all in. So yeah, that was really why I wasn't making that money before, was because I had no system in place. And I got tired of having a 30K month and then a 5K month and then a 25K month and then an 8K month. And it was like, I'm doing good enough. I'm doing way more than paying the bills, but I know that I was capable of more. And that's why it was crazy. A buddy of mine works in a similar space in business. And he says, when you plug a goal into hard work, you're guaranteed nothing. When you plug a goal into a system, you're guaranteed results. And that's always stuck with me. So it really, what it was taking 2 years to find the system that I wanted to plug into the product that I knew that was going to go boom as soon as I released it.
It's that whole concept of who, not how, finding the person that's done the thing and then trusting in the fact that they know how to do that thing. And they're not going to show you all the stuff that you don't need to do. Because the worst thing is when you log in and there's like 10 bajillion videos of all this stuff that you could do maybe in the future, but then you watch that thing and you're like, oh my gosh, this is really overwhelming right now. I just need those few key pieces, like the exact social media post to post and making sure that you got the automation on the back end to funnel those leads.
No one did that as well as you. Like seeing the sort of stuff that you would put out there and like touching a few of the free things. That's really what sold me on this program, because I'm embarrassed to say that I have an entire notes folder on my iPhone of all the courses that I've bought and literally haven't touched. Probably 5 to 10 grand in courses that I've bought that I'm like, okay, this seems great. And then I go in, I'm like, I don't have time for this shit. And then besides I don't have time for it, like you guys, it's genius on your end, right? Like you scaled what you did to do this to an entire group at the same time, where you literally hold our hand, not hold our hand. You don't hold any of his hand, but like you guide us through this process week by week to where, you know, it's hard to mess it up unless you're not doing the work. And that's really what the other people didn't have, unless they were charging really, really high ticket one-on-one, which sounds great, but just, it wasn't a price tag that I was willing to invest. Cause like, I don't know you. You know, I don't know how good of what you're going to be, how hard are you going to work. As soon as I pay you that money, you're going to be equally available. And what's crazy is that for a group coaching program, like it's not hard to get a hold of you. It's not hard to get a hold of Anthony. It's not hard to get answers. And then like the way that you, the way that you built the community around it, like if I can't get answers from one of you, like someone's going to comment within 20 minutes.
Yeah. I'm super grateful. The clients that we get to work with, like for example, yourself, Deb, I mean, various others, just badass people. It's like, wow, I chose the right niche. The fact that I get to work with these guys every day and they're coming to me for help, like how lucky am I? But you probably feel the same way about your clients, right? It's like, who are the people that light you up and how can you serve those people? Because damn, freedom is being around people that you love to be around all day, every day. Like choose your clients, choose your team members, and then life gets real good, huh?
Yeah, there's a statistic I'm roughly quoting, and the statistic is probably roughly quoted from when I heard it, but it was, you are 17% more productive if you surround yourself with high performers. If you are a high performer and you surround yourself with medium performers or below, you decrease productivity upwards of 30%. So,
Wow.
obviously we've always been told, right? Like you're the average of the 5 people that you're around. So, I've prided myself for like years, even before like I had a name for myself in the industry. I was always surrounding myself with people that are at my level or above. If I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room. And I think that's a benefit of the course, is that like everyone here, while maybe people are different stages in their business, same mindset, same hustle, same like open-mindedness to learn. Like even the people that are making the most money are probably the ones asking the most questions comparatively in other courses. And I took the same approach in my course. My course is only high performers. So you don't have to be really good, but you have very specific characteristics, because that group dynamic is really important. And if any of you pull it down, then it devalues the whole course. So I think that's something that like you guys have done really well. And it serves not only us, but it serves you guys delivering the course, that you guys get to enjoy it. Oh, what I was saying is other courses don't do that. They'll take whoever, like
with a pulse.
as long as you,
Do you have a credit card? It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah, but being so like, we have the perfect framework, right? To qualify a prospect. And the reason why we have that is because we really need to know that this is a perfect person for us to work with. Because if we don't vibe with it and you don't vibe with it, like no one's going to get anywhere. We're going to stay in deadlock. And so at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know about you, but I really did get into business for freedom. I'm 100% unemployable. And so I genuinely want to enjoy what I'm doing every day. And I've seen my team in the past when we've had programs maybe for a different level of client or people that we didn't necessarily feel that we're the best suited to serve. And the team gets tired. I get tired. There's more complaints, more refunds, because we end up just not building a business that we love. And then that was the last time I did that was about 4 years ago. Learned my lesson the hard way, and I never want to do that again. And so I think that's as well the beautiful thing about having the group program, because now that you have that one-to-many system in place, if you do get leads who are a better fit for one-on-one, maybe they're too sophisticated or too advanced, or they do want to invest in the higher level service, they can get one-on-one for you. But then you just make the price point of your one-on-one so high that you want to do it and you're excited to do it. And also that it only brings in a certain type of level of client. Because I think that's something that you're doing really well, Mike. So could you talk to that for a bit? Because I see a lot of our clients who are right now, maxed out on one-on-one, and they literally don't feel like they have time to get the program sorted. And I know you were kind of in that spot before, even traveling around to serve your one-on-one clients. So how did you create the space and time for yourself to actually focus on getting your program sorted? And then now what's your strategy to funnel your clients to either your group program or your one-on-one, depending on what would be the best fit?
When I priced myself out, I got rid of all the people I probably don't want. If I was going to take a one-on-one, it was going to be someone that I really wanted to work with, not just like, oh, well, that's the most amount of money that I can make. So that was really helpful. But I guess to answer the other part of the question was, they may not necessarily be the best fit for like 6 or 12 months. You could do the group course, but I do want to work with you one-on-one, like for whatever the reasons being. So what I did was I created like an 8-week one-on-one program. I could easily sell a ton of 6-month programs. Then I'm locked in with a weekly call for 6 months, a year. And my calendar is filling up. Every 8 weeks, my calendar is cyclically having freedom. And then working in sports, obviously seasonally, I work a lot of combat sports. So I spend a lot of time like in wrestling. Wrestling season ends in March. So my schedule is going to like disappear from anyone that was involved in that sport besides my one-on-one clients. Now lacrosse season starts. I work with 2 national championship programs. So, my schedule gets filled up in other ways, but like everything has been cyclical for me. So I think the short answer to that is, when I doubled my price, I got rid of doubled or tripled my price. That I got rid of a lot of people that didn't belong. The people now see it as more valuable anyway. So they're more interested in that. And then I tier them to where I want them or they fit best. So I really want to work with you one-on-one. Yeah, man, I just think you'd be a really good fit for this course. Like, I think like this course is really good for you. It's like, well, I don't know if I could afford to work with you long-term. I'm like, well, we could work together for the next 8 to 12 weeks. How about that? But that's at a premium rate. So I don't mind working with them because it's a very premium rate for a short amount of time.
The thing that's ultimately going to scale is your scale program. That's the thing that's going to be able to bring the volume through. And that isn't a ton of effort and workload on you, because that's what we do all day, every day at Impact School, is implement these type of programs. But the thing is, I truly believe that if you want to do some one-on-one, or you're getting people asking you for it, if you find a price that feels good to you and you would really enjoy getting paid that amount of money for that one-on-one,
Yeah.
then I think take the money and deliver the value. Because if someone's willing to pay it, they want that thing. And some people just want that VIP experience. And I think it's a really great way to also be able to scale your income. Because you mentioned when you did that one post, you collected about what was it, like 44K from the courses, and then another 21K or so from one-on-one, something like that. And so that extra 21K, you've now found a way to do it in a leveraged manner where it's not your everything, but it's just, let's just say a third of your income right now, allowing you to deliver a ton of value, probably get really great testimonials as well from that one-on-one experience, and build great relationships, because you never know, those guys often could refer you a lot of clients for your group program. And so I like that model, and I like that process, and the way that you're going about it is smart. And when it comes to like something that's really frustrating you right now in your business that you hate, that you want to fix at the moment, like what would you say that thing is for you? Like, because every problem solved is a new problem created. So I think it's helpful to know, once you get to that level where you are making like, more multi 5 figures each month, working your way towards a 6-figure per month mark, like there's different problems. So what are those for you?
I think right now there's systems for stuff that I didn't realize even needed systems, like if I have to spend more than like 45 minutes doing something, then that means that like there's a system that I haven't created. So I think what I need right now is figuring out how to balance. I have like 2 girls that help me moderate my course. And then I have a creative VA, and I need like someone to fill the gaps for all the other stuff, like all the other stuff that they can't get to, or like I probably need to hire a full-time executive assistant, like a chat setter, like those sort of things. But I would say like what's most frustrating is that there's a million little things that those 3 girls don't handle. Like those 3 girls, it's not in there like whatever to handle. So that falls on me. So the million things, that's what's frustrating like the most right now in the business, because that's taking me away from my 80-20. If I took that off my plate, then I would spend most of my days building content, closing sales, and doing stuff like that. So like, I'm really hungry right now to figure that out. And something Rich taught me too, obviously, like you would have said the same, but I didn't know you then. He was like, spend money, buy time. Spend money, buy time. He's like, if you could pay somebody less than half of your effective hourly rate to do something you don't want to do it every single time. And I've spent more money to buy time in the last year than probably the last 10 combined. But like I've made more money and been more productive than ever. So yeah, figuring out all that random shit that's popping up that lacks the systems and like requires my time, but I can't press it to them because it's not their thing and they're busy doing other stuff. That's like the most frustrating thing. I took a bunch of teams, big cash injection. What did that allow me to do? Spend money to buy time. And then the more that I like spent money to buy time, then I was able to grow. Then I was able to make enough money where I was like, I feel comfortable investing into something like you. And then I made 65K in a month. Then I felt more comfortable in spending more money on a bunch of other stuff so I can buy more time. And that's just the relentless rat race of this fucking business world, excuse me, is that like you like solve a problem, new problem, solve a problem, new problem. And then, but you're making the money that you're able to deal with it. So it's not a big problem.
That's called scaling. Yeah. So back to the revenue review. I'm not going to let you slip that one out. So essentially, what you're going to do, right? And I know you're going away soon, so you can do it before, and you can start it tomorrow, right? Or even today. Like every 30 minutes, just write down what you're doing, because you need to do it for 2 weeks. The reason why,
I have it printed out right here. I'm looking at it. It's right there.
Okay. You've already printed it. There we go. So I'm going to hold you accountable. We hold you accountable. Okay.
You do.
Print it out as you've done, and then put a $ next to the things that make you money, the activities that you do. Put a plus sign next to the things that give you energy, a minus sign next to the things that take your energy. I got that from, oh man, I think it was like Atomic Habits or something, the energy thing. Oh man, I might be wrongly quoting that. But then all the stuff that doesn't make money or give you, and that doesn't give you energy, you need to create that into a job role. So like that becomes, then that is how you create your job description. So maybe there's going to be some stuff that makes you money and that takes away your energy. You might also want to consider putting that on the job description too, because you're at the stage now where your energy is so precious. And that can be a really great way to figure out who to hire. Because if you try bring on like an everything person, they can get really overwhelmed. And if you don't do it the right way, bringing on an executive assistant, it can go horribly wrong. I've made that mistake before, which was very frustrating, and it cost me a lot of money and time. And in a couple of weeks as well, I think in about 4 weeks, we're having a recruiter come in and do a training on how to figure out the different like concierge assistants and stuff that you need to hire.
Mm,
So that'll be
mm,
like really great timeline because I
mhm.
think she's doing her talk the week that you're getting back from Disney World. So that should
Oh,
be really,
perfect.
yeah.
Yeah.
You need to do the revenue review first so that you know who you need to hire.
So I don't know why you think I wouldn't want to do that. That like that shit gets me excited because
Yeah.
and this is a great piece of advice that I've shared with a lot of my clients. Create a don't want to do list. Like create a list of all the stuff you don't want to do, and like that's what you hire out. You know, unless it's like high skill, high leverage, then like it's just what I've learned and what you would have taught me if I met you first, because you say the same stuff, is that like unless it's high leverage and requires me, if it doesn't cost me, if it costs me less than half of my effective hourly rate, like I'm going to hire somebody else to do it. I literally hire people to hang pictures on my wall. When I created a not to do list or whatever, however you want to look at it, that made it very clear who I need to go hunt after. It was very general. And so I have very general assistants right now. Like they handle all the stuff for the course. You handle all my like creative stuff, like very generalized. If I did what you did and I outlined every single 30-minute block of my day, it would be, you just can't mess that up. It's very clear, like what's making me money, what's not making me money, it's draining my energy. How do I leverage that? How do I spend my money to buy my time by hiring somebody else? And then I like how you said too, use that copy to create a job role.
Yeah, that's the best part, because then it's literally going to be, you bring that person on, you onboard them, and then you are no longer going to have to do those things because you can delegate that stuff to them. And then it's all of those hours are taken away from your workload and given to somebody else. Plus like clear parameters, because sometimes when you hire like an everything person, they start getting overwhelmed and confused because they don't necessarily have the processes to follow. And so that's why I love doing it this way, because it creates so much freedom, and it is a way that will ensure that that person that you bring on actually really sticks. So it's a really great one.
Great feedback, because I've definitely seen that.
Yeah, no, I love it. Okay, well, I want you to report back on your progress. With that said, I mean, I just gave you some pointers and some tips. So what's something that you think that we could do better? Something how Impact School could improve?
I have 238,000 unread emails. So yeah. So I'm not a guy that clears his inbox, because I've like, I used to be that way. And then like, I don't remember what it was. There was like some key email that I deleted, and it like screwed me so bad by deleting that email. So I just delete nothing. I have 256 gigabytes on my iPhone, which means that I never have to delete a picture ever again for the rest of my life. So I guess maybe on the like on the interview and stuff, outlining like exactly like, hey, when you take this, the intentions is that we're going to do this. Like what I listened to and heard was, we're going to teach you how to do these things, and you're going to learn how to do these things. But I guess what wasn't abundantly clear for me, and again, I'm taking responsibility for it, is that like I must have missed something, was that the intention is that you will release an offer, even if it's not a new offer, like there will be an offer, and you're going to go through that offer together, which by the way is genius. Like couldn't do it a better way. Like that's absolutely genius. It's so much better than teaching me what to do and then releasing me to go do it, because I would be busy, and then I would make excuses, and I would do all the work, but then I wouldn't do it. I'm sorry, I would do all the work to learn, but then I wouldn't have the time to execute it, because like, it's NCAA championship season. Then now I've got this and I've got this. So like the way you did it was perfect. I would just say like, it maybe on the interview or something, making it what it would have been helpful for me, making abundantly clear.
Okay, that's really valuable. Yeah, because it helps us know how we can improve our communication with people who are super busy like yourself. So very, very valuable. Okay, cool. And when you started with us, like, you kind of just went for it, you know? So what do you think, despite being so busy, allowed you to do that? I mean, you are Mindset Mike after all, but what is there anything that you would advise to, like, because our other clients will watch this. So what was it about you that allows you to go for it? And also when we said, hey, in 6 weeks, you're going to start another cohort of your course, instead of saying, oh, screw these guys, like, I'm not going to do it, you actually decided to commit and follow through and do that thing. So what makes you actually show up, even though you don't have to? Like, you could just ignore what we're saying.
Yeah. Well, I'm obviously like, I'm pot committed. Like I put the money in. So like, I'm going to get my money's worth. And I know that this is something that will like unlock the next phase of my life that I've been chasing, which is like time freedom. I've always made good money, but like I never had time freedom. I either had one or the other. I wasn't making a lot of money and I had time, or I was making a ton of money and I had no time. So like I'm very committed to that. Like my why is very clear. Like the why I'm doing these things is abundantly clear. Actually, like it's the only thing that's hanging up on my wall is the Friedrich Nietzsche quote, which is one who has a why can bear any how. So like my why is clear. So I'm going to figure out how, even if it's ugly. But, you know, the reason that I pull the trigger is because like, you know, it took me 2 years to leave the FBI to do this. It took me 4 years past the time that I wanted to leave my last job. And not because, again, I wasn't looking for perfection. I was always looking for the right time and the right time. And each time I left, it was the right time. And it was good that I waited. Like it was supposed to be. But this was something where, especially because as an entrepreneur now, like just working for myself, it all falls on me. There is no right time. Like the right time is right now. And I couldn't wait for something to be perfect. That's why I pulled the trigger and did Impact School. That's why I pulled the trigger and just released my course without going through all the training. Because when going back to what you said, like, what is it about me? Like either I'm going to get it right or I'm going to get the data that I need. And even if I get it right, I'm going to get data. Like this is what people don't understand. I hate the quote, you win or you learn, because that implies that you don't learn when you win. Like either I'm going to crush it and I'm going to learn a lot, or like I knew I wasn't going to fail. I was just like, it's probably going to be really hard. But now because I did it, I'm going to have all the data that I need so that when I release this next one, that it's like lights out of the park. I knew that like I'm going to be able to deliver a great product, even if I lack all like the back end systems to make me feel less stressed. Like I've been doing this for a long time. So I had no problem taking the chance on making the back end ugly for me, because I knew that I would deliver a great client experience. And I'm going to leverage testimonials from the people that I hand selected in my group. Their niche is going to be all for it. And they're all major players in the community. So I knew it was going to be hard, but either, like I said, I was going to crush it or I was going to get data. And the bottom line, or the reason I did it was data. Like I knew I needed the data, and why not?
Music to my ears, Mike. This was awesome. Mike, you are someone that I am so grateful that we get to serve, because the way you show up and take action is just like, could I ask for more of a dream client? No, I really couldn't. And
Yeah.
I know obviously there's always in the beginning, it's like, oh, should I just go for this or should I not? And as you said, like, is the time ever going to be right or not? Well, in a way, we can always put 2 and 2 together and say that everything happens at the right time, no matter what, because everything at the end of the day always does work out. It's just speed to data, as you said. It's like when I was launching ads, I mean, I've been all organic for years. I started launching some ads. I was learning. I got someone coaching me on it right now. And he said, look, either way, in order to get the data we need, we're going to have to spend 10 to 15K. So I was like, screw it. Let's do it in a week. So then we got the data that we needed in a week. And that gave us what we needed to be able to make the decisions moving forward. And it made things so much easier for us. So with that said, I think going and checking out your social media, it's mindset_Mike on Instagram. That would definitely be something to check out. I know you've recently started using the templates as well that we give. And so it's cool to see the comments rolling on through there. But is there anything that you want to ask me? Anything else that you want to share? And if not, in case you're interested in joining Impact School, for those listening, there's going to be a link in the description box that you can go click and you can schedule a free quick 10-minute brainstorm session. Let's see if we can help you. And if not, then we'll make sure to give you some resources or some free stuff that will point you in the right direction either way. So there's just a link in the description box. You can go book that now. But Mike, over to you. Anything else that you'd like to share?
I have questions to ask you offline with regards to like something I'm interested in doing, but conversation for another time. If I could just summarize I wanted to re-answer the question that you said earlier as to like what it is that allows like me or people like me to pull the trigger. If I could just say one more time that, you know, I think a lot of us get caught up in the like emotions of decisions, especially when like money's involved. Something that I've noticed is that the more money that I make, the less emotion I have in my decisions. So and obviously like not everyone's in that boat, but really what's helped me make decisions for years and helped me help other people make decisions is just making it very logical, like taking the emotion out of it by like putting it on paper. Everybody thinks their feelings. I'm like, you're allowed to feel your feelings, but don't think your feelings. You know, you can, thoughts and feelings come and go, but like how you respond to them is completely up to you. So I think for me that like when I've had to make really difficult decisions, I've just removed the emotion from it and then like labeled it on paper of like, what are the pros and cons of doing this, but also what are the pros and cons of not doing this. And the more that I've done that over the years with like leaving the FBI, then like leaving the business that I left the FBI for, to then work for myself, then moving to California, across the country, like leaving family behind, all this sort of stuff. I've made those decisions, like when it came down to actually making them, I made them very quickly because I made them very logical and rational, not emotional. Because again, the more money that I've made over the years and the more success that I've had, the more that I realize like my emotions aren't going to always direct me in the right direction. They can, you know, emotions should provide feedback and they should give you an idea, but realistically, like it should be the pen to paper, practical, logical, like what makes sense for you to do. You can listen to your feelings have a say, they have a seat at the table, but like they're the passenger in the back seat, not like the driver in the car that can go reach the steering wheel. So I don't know. I just wanted to re-say that for the people that are struggling to like make big decisions, is that if you take the emotion out of it and take, you know, the fear of like, well, am I going to lose money on this? Is this something that's not going to work? Well, use logic, do your fucking, do your research, You know what I mean? Like I picked you because I did research. Like I followed you for about a year before, because anybody can look good when they're promoting something, right? Like all their ads are going to come out, they're going to sound good, and everyone sounds the same. My entire feed is nothing but people like you trying to sell me the same stuff. So like I spent a year and then like in like following stuff and seeing results and stuff. And I was like, all right, this is it. And it wasn't like a question for me. It was like, let me get the data. And I know I need to make a decision. And then I don't remember what it was, but I was like, I'm doing it tomorrow.
You're hilarious. Yeah, but it makes sense. I mean, everyone that I know that's super successful also makes really, really fast decisions, but based fully on data. So I love that. It's very cool. Mike, thank you so much for being here today. For those who are interested in exploring working with Impact School, link in the description. You can click that, find a quick 10-minute scale session with us where we'll look at your business, we'll look at your niche, your price points, and who you're serving right now. We'll also look at the opportunities that exist within how you could potentially scale your business, add 30K, 50K, even 100K per month. And from there, we can see if we can help you. And if not, then we'll point you in the right direction. If we can, we will invite you to have a further conversation with us. So go ahead, click that link in the description. Mike, thanks for being here today. And hey, hopefully we can get some great new people just like yourself inside of Impact School, because the more incredible entrepreneurs there are, the better it is for everybody. So thank you so much for being here. Yeah, for sure. So I'll clarify the question. So you're essentially asking, should I add a VIP upsell essentially to your course? And so we haven't yet decided how you want that VIP upsell to look, right? It's just an idea right now.
I like wrote some stuff down, like whether it be like something simple, like just a couple one-on-one calls, whether it be like, so everyone gets a one-on-one call with me at the end of the course. That was one of my selling points, because everyone wants access to me and they'll get a lot of access in the group course, but I added a one-on-one for everybody, 30 minutes at the end of like the course, right? So I thought of maybe increasing that by numbers, keep it simple, or make it more complicated and have like an additional meeting twice during the 8 weeks with just that small group where we cover like a very specific niche of stuff that is not in the course. Like I just don't want to I don't want to overcomplicate things, but I don't want to oversimplify it. And then like the offer is kind of meh, you know?
So there's like essentially two things that I think would be more beneficial to your offer right now than adding a one-on-one VIP. First thing is at the end of the course, the fact that you have a 30-minute call there is great, because that's essentially a continuity call where you're getting them to stay with you. So my first question is, do you already in their initial agreement have it so that at the end of their course, they go into an ongoing, either weekly or every 4 weeks payment on the back end of the course into a community?
When you guys said that, like, I thought that was genius. And I forgot that you said that. I don't know how to execute that. Because they 100% would do that. So here's what I've like seen could be like the vision and tell me if this fits it, if your version's better or my idea is better. So essentially I have 80 pieces of curriculum like in my like course, right? So I'm reverse engineering success is essentially like my 8 weeks to fight ready. A UFC fighter calls me, he's got to fight in 8 weeks. These are like the 10 lessons that I feel like of my whole course we should do, right? So it's the most comprehensive thing. Okay. But they get maybe 12 pieces of curriculum. There's way more left, right? So I was going to release like my signature course is reverse engineering. Then I was going to release four-week mini courses of stuff like weaponizing gratitude, weaponizing resilience, building intentionality, becoming a purpose-driven athlete, like 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 weeks. My vision is that like these people, if I spread this out right, if I like, give them time to get their money back, that they would sign up for lots of these mini courses that are slightly less expensive and stay on the payroll. Comparatively speaking, like I don't know what would be best for the way I deliver information. Like I don't want to take tons of one-on-ones, but I'll take you in groups and teach you my whole curriculum, but over the course of however many groups that you want to pay premium dollars for. So I don't know whether or not to build a community and like serve a community, or my vision was continue to release these courses because I'll get people staying on the loop. And then in addition, I'll get new people coming in. Now, here's the problem with that. If that's the case, then I should be selling buy 3 courses for the price of 2, buy 4 courses, whatever. Like there should be something that makes people want to lock in the 3 or 4 courses. Like I'm not saying a discount, but there should be something that makes people want to lock in the 3 courses, 4 courses instead of buy 1. I'll think about it in 2 months. You know what I mean?
No, we don't want to do that. Okay, so here's how you solve that. And it's good that you're with us because we do this all day, every day. Now, just quick FYI, what we're going to be doing inside of Impact School over the next couple months is we're also going to be delivering this concept live, and we're going to be going through it in really a lot of detail. So you're good, you're sweet on that side, but I'll just explain it to you now. Okay, so really key point, when they first sign up to the course in the beginning, have a price point that at the end, they just go into automatic billing. And if they don't want to get on that, it's more of an opt-out rather than an opt-in. So at the end, within a 30-day period, they would have to tell you, hey, Mike, don't bill me again. I don't want to continue after the course is done. That's the first thing. The way that you execute that is you put it in their agreement, and on their payment inside of, you use Stripe, right? You just have a subscription inside of Stripe, and in the agreement, they just sign that you're allowed to bill their card. Now, I would definitely tell this to an attorney and get the attorney to build it into the agreement, because then you can make sure that they do it in a way that works for your business. Okay. So I'm obviously not an attorney and I'm not taking on legal risk. However, that's something that we do and it works very, very well. Okay. That's the first thing. Second thing, when it comes to all these courses, like mini courses and stuff that you want to sell, it's not about that. Okay. Having your core program is great. So we call this a scale program. Okay. That's the core program. On the back end, essentially like a mastermind membership. And the way that you get them to stay is through having a roadmap. So essentially you showcase you're here right now, but this program, this first core program gets you to this stage. And then how do you get better and better and better and better and better over time? So let's say if you had to create like 5 levels for your guys and gals to essentially get better and better. For us, it's easy because it's revenue. So we have like 0 to 250, 250 to 500, 500 to 750, 750 to a mil plus. It's really like 1 mil to 2 mil, 2 mil to 3 mil, 3 mil plus. But what does that look like for you? What could those levels be? So that then you can highlight a roadmap, and essentially if you're within this level, these things unlock to you. And you don't have to create every little mini course because you can just deliver it all live. So because you're doing a cohort right now with your clients, by the time they get to the end, the majority of them are going to need between 1 to 3 to 5 things. And so you just create on the calendar, this is what we're going to be going through. So you're going to get total mastery in these things. And I really like what you said about having like a 4-week concept, because then in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, it's all around the same topic. And then you're just doing it basically every month. And it gives them a reason to stay for the whole month and then also to stay for the next month. And then because you're constantly doing new topics, they never really leave. And you essentially have 1 month be one area of, you said you had like 80, right? That can literally last years. But at the end of the day, you don't need to pre-record it because you can deliver it all live. And then once it's done, you can put it into the portal. And then as time goes on, you might find that you want to run like 8-week, essentially mini cohorts within the whole cohort, where everyone picks one of, let's just say you pick like 5 areas. So for us, it's sales, clients, leads, authority, and economics. So what we're going to be doing is everyone every 8 weeks picks one of those 5 things to focus on. And then there's like a mini cohort within every client doing every different thing. That's how we've done it very successfully in the past. So then you can essentially have like many programs going on all at once, because eventually you'll have hundreds of clients in there. And that's how you can also open it up in the future to have like a lower ticket thing, which let's just say is like $50 a month. They just get access to the group calls. Sorry, $50 a week. They just get access to the group calls, and maybe they're not like top 5 right now. Maybe they're just like top 20. And then you can help them get into those higher ranks so that they'll be qualified for your main program. But the main thing you need to get clear is like, what is qualification for your main program? And then what are the levels or the rankings, as it were? I mean, you guys are sports guys. They'll love rankings, right? Like, what are the rankings on the back end? And how does your membership make them increase up the rankings? Does that make sense?
How do I execute that? Because like this core group I have right now, I hand selected like very on purpose, because I know they're all impact players. And like when they post, when they share, when they have testimonials, like I want their friends. Their friends are also my ideal clients. So like I want to leverage them. How do I execute something on a small scale like that to play with this in the short term? So the course ends in 2 weeks. And then I'll probably start the next one, let's say 2 weeks later. Like the idea was run this signature course like consistently. And then, you know, like whatever else I'm plugging in, because this signature course, people are always going to be coming in and wanting it. Right? They're always going to be coming in and wanting it. And then I want them to stay in the funnel. I want them to stay in the funnel of like, you got this. Now let's build, let's build, let's build. How do I execute what you're saying instead of waiting on it for like a couple months? Like what's something that I could do in a short term?
So right now you're considering doing more one-on-one as a VIP upgrade, right? So how many hours in your head had you like potentially allocated to that?
Per course? Well, it would either be like, and this is what I was going to ask you, like, am I going to do it with a couple one-on-one calls for each? Because people will pay for that like that. Like that's easy, but that's going to be time. I can do like, you know, I'll select 5 people out of the group that want to opt in, and we will do 3 extra group calls. So instead of getting 5 people opting in for 3 extra calls for 15 calls, I can get 3 small group calls that are intimate, and I would that would probably make more sense that I can do.
Yeah, I mean, so if you're open to doing like 3 group calls a week, would it be a week? Yeah.
No, so let's say I have an 8-week course, I would add on 3 private group calls.
Okay. Yeah, no. So I don't think that the core course is an area of like urgent need right now. I don't think it's even something that I would consider putting any effort into, other than the agreement on the front end, so that on the back end they go into auto billing and auto membership. And so instead of doing those like group calls that you mentioned, these guys that you have working with you in your program right now, I'd reach out to them and say, hey, I'm going to put together a small I don't know, whatever you call, what do they resonate with? Like a small group of like the highest performers. And we're going to work on this topic, and this topic. And then essentially just lock them in for a year and get them paying every week and get them on an automatic weekly billing. Because I genuinely think that that's your biggest area of opportunity, because then all the people that end the cohort that you're starting in a few weeks, they can also get put into that.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're saying don't release mini courses, build community around, like build a community around that. I guess I wouldn't know how to execute that. Like how would I execute those things?
We're going to be teaching this inside of Impact School over the next few weeks, starting in literally a few weeks from now. But just like TLDR, right? Essentially what it is you don't need to make the courses, because the courses are within the membership. And then if somebody wants to get a course, they can just join the membership, or you can take the course, right, and just sell it as a standalone thing, as a low ticket, with the aim of upselling people into the membership. Because the beautiful thing about this is it's recurring revenue. So, you know, before you said some months that you'd have like super high revenue months, and other months really low, and then really high, and then really low. If you could get even to like, you know, 10, 20, 30K monthly recurring revenue, then that's a really, really stable business. And the way that you keep that whole thing going, you don't even have to keep doing all of the live courses forever, because you can bring in tons of experts. I mean, you can get your top clients coming in and doing trainings in there. Like you'll see in a couple of weeks, Deb, who is part of Impact School. She's taken 2 businesses to more than 100 million and sold them. She's going to come in and do a session on finance, right? So eventually you can bring in like your best clients and get them to do sessions on like specific skills or performance hacks that they've got.
I'm actually doing a mastermind with 5 of the biggest coaches in wrestling and MMA. Like, I'm talking big names, like those sort of people respect me enough where if I offer them something, like those guys, I said, listen, I'm going to do something for you for like 4 to 6 weeks. It'll be free in return for essentially what we're talking about here. These guys are the most highly leveraged people in all of combat sports. Yeah. So I do something for them for a couple weeks. Like I can bring them in that capacity for like what I wanted to do next.
Yeah,
so exactly. I didn't know how, but I knew where it was going. So now I just need you to teach me what to do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I think the easiest thing to do right now is overthink it. But the most important thing to do is to get the agreement right with the attorney. You have an attorney, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. So the attorney is going to charge you some godforsaken amount of money to make this change. However, it's going to make you even more money. So I wouldn't worry about that part too much. These guys are like, oh, I got more 6 minutes. They're like, I edited an email for 24 minutes. I'm like, you guys are driving me crazy. But on that note, so you're doing a one-on-one call, right? Already with those guys. Like, this is just going to be an opportunity for you to invite them. And when you frame the offer, you just let them know, like, look, you're here right now. And then essentially kind of treat it like a soft sales call, because you need to resell them on staying with you. So where are they now? Where do they want to be? What's the gap? How can you, I mean, I'm not going to train you on sales right now. Every week, deliver a live session to these guys, coach and train them on something. Maybe you want to have another group call each week. I don't know. We can talk about that in a bit more detail, because we really will go deep on this, like designing how you want the membership to be. But like, really simply put, it could.
So essentially, I could walk them through the one-on-one program, but in a group.
Yeah.
I'm essentially going through so it's not 80 different topics. It's like 80 different worksheets broken up into about 6 or 7 different things, like gratitude, resilience, intentionality, total commitment, confidence, relaxing under pressure. So I essentially run them. Well, the problem is though, that they'll get in at different times though.
Yes. So, but that's why each month you can do like a themed month to begin with, to get all the trainings recorded. And then after like 2 years, it's probably going to take you like 2 years to record all the trainings, and they're already in the portal. And then what you do is, once you're at that stage, then every single month you can have everyone rank themselves. So what you'll notice that we're going to get you to do next is rank yourself in SCALE, sales, clients, attention, I'm trying to do it in order, leads, and economics. And we're going to get you guys to like rank yourselves in that. We call this like, we used to call it 7 areas of impact, but we've changed it to the 5 areas of scale because it was too complex before. But with our private one-on-one clients that I was telling you about earlier, we behind the scenes would do the 7 areas of impact analysis on our clients every single month. Now we just show you guys it, but it's scale because it's more simple and it's easier than you to do for yourself. So essentially, you look at those 5 areas and then you rank and you ask yourself, if I could improve one of these 5 areas and it would have a ripple effect on the rest of my business, what would that one area be? And that's essentially how you figure out what to focus on. So you can do the same. You can figure out what are those 5 or 6 areas. Honestly, I recommend 5. Like, it was way complex with our clients when we tried to do 7. Like, everybody got confused. So what are those 5 areas you mentioned? Like gratitude, like nervous system regulation, whatever those 5 are. They can rank themselves, even just like red, amber, green, or 1 through 5. And then they can figure out what's their area that they need to focus on. And then after 2 years, however long it's going to take you to get all that content out there, you can then have them individually rank themselves. Because imagine, like, by then you're going to have hundreds of clients. You're literally going to have hundreds of guys and girls in this membership. So you won't be able to do like live cohort all the time. So they'll rank themselves. Let's just say it's like nervous system regulation or whatever it is. Like, I'm just making it up for you.
Yeah.
Let's just say it's that. Then there's a list of criteria within the roadmap for the nervous system regulation, right? And they'll have to pick like a project to focus on for the next 8 weeks, or maybe you want to do it every 4 weeks. I recommend 8 just because it makes people more likely to stay for 2 more months rather than just a 1 month billing. Okay, this helps with the business economics too. So it's an 8-week thing. Let's just say they pick 1, 2, or 3 projects, depending on how hefty the project is. Because for like, it could be something as simple as like go in an ice plunge every day, right? Like that's not hard. They just need to do that every day. Okay. I'm just like, obviously this isn't what you do, but I'm just giving an example.
Yeah.
And then if it was just that, then they wish to pick a big project as well to do for the next 8 weeks relating to that area, because that's their area of necessity right now. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna have to re-listen to that on the recording 3 or 4 times, but like I get here I'm struggling with, but I get this.
Okay, cool. So don't worry about that, because like right now, essentially all you would need to do, because you have some guys who are ending in 2 weeks. The thing is just to sell them on the dream, sell them on the vision after in 2 weeks, getting them into something and just delivering and picking what the first month is going to be. Because right now you have like what, 30 clients or so in that cohort. Like what do they mainly need right now? Is there an area that most of them are struggling with?
They're all high level competitors, so like it's all like slightly different, but like probably, you know, like my next course was likely going to be, let me answer your question. What are they struggling with? Probably confidence and making sure that like they compete well consistently, like
Okay, cool.
consistency. So they come to me to reverse engineer success instead of working hard and hoping that they win.
Yeah,
like that's like, so they need now that they have the skills, they need the confidence to be able to execute that on a high level. So like one of my girls in the cohort, she beat the number 8 girl in the world like this last weekend, right? So now she's top 10 in the world. Wow. She needs the confidence to be able to back that up now. These other
okay, literally that is it. The first month that you're going to focus on is like consistent high performance. Once you've now got into the top 10 in the world, how do you hold yourself there?
Yeah.
And you just train on that for the first month. And that also buys you time. Literally, it doesn't need to be anything fancy. It doesn't need to be anything complex. It's just week by week, you pick a topic, you talk about it, you then do masterminding at the end.
When you say masterminding at the end, what do you mean?
Q&A, you pick one of the clients, maybe this girl, you put her on the hot seat and you give her some personal coaching because she's right now like literally a living, breathing example of this. Yeah.
I love that. See, this is why I took a year, because I didn't know you did all these things, but like just seeing all the things that you did and didn't do compared to other people that just felt like I was going to McDonald's for coaching, you know, like I knew what I was getting out of this. So I appreciate it. Like essentially what you're doing is what I want to do in my niche. And I have the authority and the space to be able to execute that.
Well, you're doing it. You are doing it.
Yeah.
It's just these like tactical things that I can help with and that my team can help with.
Yes. Yeah.
For sure. But like most important thing is speak to the attorney and don't just do one-on-one coaching sessions. Use those as an opportunity to get continuity and like get the commitment on the phone. Anyways, you know all this sales stuff, right? So.
But I'm so glad that I agreed to do that, because I was just going to give them value. Because like, obviously I've been telling them like, hey, I'm going to release other courses, like you guys being the first of my cohorts, like you'll get special entrance, all this, whatever, like incentivizing them. I'm going to use that as a sales call because they all love me right now. It's Amazing. It's week 7. So I started asking for testimonials.
On that note, just like to come full circle, we will be going deep on this inside of Impact School. So like, just rest assured that we're going to make sure that you're clear on that. But for now, I would just keep it as simple as you can. So if you're plugged into my scale systems, there's a community element there. So you could just build your whole community inside of my scale systems if you want.
Well, listen, I know I've taken up plenty of your time, but thank you so much for spending your time with me.
That was good.
Thank you. Yeah,
that was really, really good. And yeah, just if you need anything, I mean, you know how to get in touch with us, right? So, but amazing work. I'm super grateful that we get to serve you, Mike. And yeah, have an amazing trip. You deserve it for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
All right,
take it easy, Laura. Again, thank you so much.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.